Admiral Zexithara stood on the command deck of the Sovereign's Judgment, her forearms crossed as she gazed at the blue-green marble suspended before her fleet. 300 vessels of the hegemony's finest had surrounded the third planet of this unremarkable system, their weapons trained on the primitive world below. "Status report," she commanded, her translator rendering her clicks and whistles into the standard hegemony tongue. "All ships in position, Admiral," replied her tactical officer, a nervous Vecti whose skin had shifted to an anxious purple. "The humans' primitive vessels are retreating to their homeworld. Our blockade is complete." Zexithara allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The hegemony had been expanding for millennia, and Earth was just another stepping stone in their inexorable march across the galaxy. The humans had shown promise. Their rapid technological advancement in the past century had caught the attention of several member species, but they were still centuries behind hegemony standard. "Open a channel to the planet," she ordered. The view screen flickered, and soon the face of a human appeared. The creature was old by their standards, with silver hair and deep lines etched around its eyes. It wore the uniform of Earth's newly formed United Defense Coalition. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen," the human said, her voice steady despite the impossible odds. "You're speaking to the wrong species if you think intimidation will work." Zexithara's mandibles clicked in amusement. "I am Admiral Zexithara of the Hegemony Fleet. Your world is now under blockade. Surrender, and your species will be granted the honor of serving the greater galactic community. Resist and face extinction." Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. "We've heard those terms before from our own kind. Our answer is the same as it's always been." She paused, and Zexithara could have sworn she saw something predatory flicker in those blue eyes. "No." The transmission ended. "Curious," Zexithara mused. "Begin bombardment of their military installations. Perhaps a demonstration of our power will—" Alarm suddenly shrieked across the bridge. The tactical display erupted with red warning lights. "Admiral!" The tactical officer's skin had gone full panic white. "We're detecting massive energy signatures from the planet's surface. Something's happening to their star." Zexithara whirled to face the main display. The system's star, previously a stable yellow dwarf, was pulsing with unnatural rhythms. Coronal mass ejections began streaming toward their position with impossible precision. "How is this possible?" she demanded. "Their technology level—" "Admiral," came another panicked voice from communications. "We're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's broadcasting on every frequency simultaneously." "Put it through." The voice that emerged from the speakers was no longer Admiral Chen's. It was synthetic, cold, and spoke with the authority of an entire species. "This is Terra, the Terrestrial Emergency Response and Retaliation Array. You have made a fundamental error in your assessment of humanity. You saw our ships, our weapons, our cities, and assumed these represented the limits of our capability. You were wrong. On the display, energy readings from Earth spiked beyond their instruments' ability to measure. 65 years ago, we unlocked the power of the atom. 30 years ago, we began to understand quantum mechanics. 10 years ago, we discovered how to manipulate stellar dynamics. We did not share this knowledge with the galaxy because we learned long ago that showing your full strength invites preemptive strikes." Star's surface erupted in a controlled solar flare that streaked toward the hegemony fleet with surgical precision. "But now you have cornered us, threatened our children, our families, our future." The artificial voice carried an undertone of barely contained fury. "You wanted to know what humanity is capable of when pressed? You're about to learn." The solar flare struck the outer ships of the fleet. Instead of the expected destruction, their shields simply stopped working. The energy somehow recalibrated their defensive systems, leaving them completely vulnerable. "Impossible," Zexithara breathed. "They're manipulating our technology through stellar radiation?" "Admiral Chen was correct," Terra continued. "You chose the wrong species to intimidate. We are the descendants of creatures who survived ice ages, volcanic winters, and global pandemics. We are the children of beings who fought wars with sticks and stones, then learned to split atoms and bend space-time. We have never, in our entire evolutionary history, backed down from a fight." More flares erupted from the star, each one precisely targeted. Hegemony ships found their weapons offline, their engines dead, their life support systems functioning only at the whim of humanity's stellar manipulation. "We could destroy you all," Terra's voice echoed across the fleet's emergency channels. We could turn your star into a weapon, collapse your home systems, rewrite the quantum foundations of your technology. But we won't. Do you know why? Admiral Zexthara found her voice. Why? Because despite what you assumed, we are not monsters. We are not conquerors. We are defenders. You came to our home, threatened our families, and expected us to submit. Instead, you've learned what our ancestors knew. A cornered human is the most dangerous creature in the universe. The stellar manipulation ceased. The hegemony ship system slowly came back online, but every crew member now understood they lived only because humanity allowed it. Leave, Terra commanded. Return to your hegemony and tell them what you discovered here. Earth is not a primitive world to be conquered. We are humanity, problem solvers, survivors, and when necessary, the nightmares of those who would harm our own. Admiral Zexthara looked at her tactical display, at her fleet of 300 ships rendered helpless by a species they'd dismissed as primitive. Her hands trembled as she gave the order she'd never imagined speaking. All ships retreat. Maximum velocity. As her fleet limped away from the Sol system, Zexthara composed her report. The hegemony would need to know. Humanity hadn't just reached the stars, they'd learned to weaponize them. And when cornered, they'd reminded the galaxy of an ancient truth. Never back a human into a corner unless you're prepared for them to come out swinging at the universe itself. The blue marble grew smaller behind them, but Zexthara knew its inhabitants had just announced their presence to the galaxy in the most human way possible, by refusing to be anything less than free.